The acting executive director of CLEEN Foundation, Ruth Olofin, during a methodology workshop organized by the body, explained that the aim of the workshop is to evaluate tools developed to check police effectiveness in addressing issues of gender-based violence in Nigeria.
It's a methodology workshop. The idea is that we have stakeholders come to the table to look at the tool that we have developed to take to the field. How robust is this tool? And if what we have captured adequately responds to what we're going to meet on the field in terms of how people perceive the police in addressing issues of gender-based violence. So it's a methodology meeting. Stakeholders are meant to make inputs into a tool, and after which we'll finalize that tool and take to the field, discussing with the police, interviewing people, residents, to get their perception of how the police is handling issues of gender-based violence. Gender-based violence, again, following the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, is been seen as a pandemic within the epidemic or the pandemic. What that means is it's going way out of control. It's becoming a global challenge. It is a global challenge, actually, and that the fact that we are highlighting these issues means that, people are affected. And when we talk about gender-based violence, it's not just women, but men are increasingly being attacked, boys are increasingly being attacked based on their sex. But for women, the story is actually very different, because women are targeted because of their sex. So you have issues of rape and all of that. We are highlighting this issue because this has become a scourge, as it were. Everywhere you read the dailies, almost on a daily basis, a woman is being raped or domestic violence. You just get the news so rife with these issues. But we are asking critical questions around the availability of data, so that when we have data, we can know where the issues are. Could it be that we don't have police personnel that have been trained that can adequately address these issues? Could it be that the police is still handling this issue as not a crime? Because this is a crime. It's a crime against the person, it's a crime against the state, as it were. So we are bringing to the table or highlighting the issues of gender-based violence so that critical stakeholders like policing actors, Nigerian police and others can look at those data and look at areas through which they can improve themselves. The idea is that policing needs to change. Policing should not be seen just in terms of the traditional crimes, as I mentioned earlier, but that there are some other crimes that are not coming within their purview that they need to address, and that is where the issues of gender-based violence, in its broadest sense, comes to play.
Other stakeholders who spoke with newsmen during the exercise explained that gender-based violence is a menace that must be kicked out of the society and called for all hands to be on deck to reduce gender-based violence to its barest minimum in Nigeria.
There has been inadequate attention to the issue of gender-based violence, which affects 50% of our population. Women represent 50% of our population. And so MacArthur's interest is to begin to pay attention to these 50% that have been left out of everything that is important in this country. And so we are hoping that this effort that is led by CLEEN can be another of those collective efforts to begin to actually produce data that can then help us take important decisions that affect and impact them, and that can also help us to begin to remove those bottlenecks in their participation, in their protection, and in their safety.
Violence is a pandemic, actually, and it is actually one of the biggest threats that is actually confronting both gender, but the female gender are actually more at the receiving end. And I think the meeting today is actually trying to see the role of law enforcement and how they can actually support the process in reducing this menace in the society. I tell you, in our society today, gender-based violence is actually cheaper than anything else in the market. And that is the reason why it becomes very important for everybody to actually put hands on the deck to be able to drive the process forward. And the essence for this tool and this workshop is to be able to develop some kind of method that can help, one, to bring law enforcement agencies into understanding what GBV is and the consequences in the society, and also create some kind of monitoring between citizens and law enforcement in terms of how they can actually help in terms of reduction, monitoring and tracking, and ensuring that the entire pandemic around it can also be mitigated. So those risk analyses and the trigger point have been identified. It is now responsibility of every actor and stakeholders, both at citizens level and law enforcement, to work together to see how they can actually mutually set up some kind of joint problem-solving strategy that helps everybody to see where the gaps are and how they can collectively work to solve the problem in a long run. And that, for us, is the essence why today's meeting is very important.
I believe that nobody or no organization can have it 100% perfect. And even as an individual, you always keep developing yourself. So yes, the police is doing it what it can, and I believe there's large room for improvement. So yes, I think there also needs to be more training of personnel, more people getting involved, from the police now, in handling these cases and handling them properly, knowing what to do, having proper investigation, making proper investigation, and then following the due process. Of course, when it leaves the police and gets to the court, it's a different ballgame. The police can handle it when court matters. Yes, but at least from the police angle of it, whatever they can do through the policies, using the policies and their means, processes to ensure that they handle these GBV cases that are reported. That will also give the public the belief that the police is your friend, as they say, and then you have the confidence to report more cases to the police. So yes, a lot can still be done. The police can still do better and better and better and better.
The CLEEN Foundation is a non-profit organization established in 1998 to promote public safety, security, and access to justice by carrying out empirical research, legislative advocacy, demonstration programs, and publications.